Tom, do you think most retailers and salespeople think about their brand and how not to really damage their brand?
No, and a short answer. I think good ones do. I think good ones' brand's all important to them, but I don't think that many retailers or even salespeople realize, what builds a brand. A brand is really a promise to a customer. A brand is a level of trust. There's a reason that we will spend more money for certain products when we go to a grocery store. For example, there's a reason we'll spend more money for a quart of motor oil to put into our engine than the house brands oftentimes, because we have that level of trust or that level of confidence. We really don't know what the content of the bottle is. But those brands, those individual companies protect those brands and build those brands, to a very great level. I'm afraid so many times we have our own individual brand. The name on the front of the store, of course, is our company brand. And all the interactions that people have, all the things they see, whether it's things they see driving down the street, it's how you get treated on the telephone. How long did it take to get the phone answered? Was it answered by a human? Did you seem to care? If you want to turn me off, just say something to the effect, well, we have a policy. I really don't care what your policy is. I have a problem, or I have a need. Those things are so damaging, to building a brand. And we tend to think a brand's nothing but a sign or a logo that we put on the trucks or put on the front of the building. And that's one of the brands that we have to protect and think about.
But that's something a salesperson really should think about, is their brand and what their brand means outside of that store. People want a trouble-free situation.
Sure. I mean, think of it, I always say, when you're the customer, when you're spending your money, forget flooring for a second, but when you're spending your money, are you attracted to, do you gravitate toward, service providers, places, that you buy product that you have a certain level of trust in. My guess is if it's a project that you're proud of, it's a project that you have longevity in your mind, you probably want something kind of decent. You probably don't want to rummage around at the dollar sale, for things of that nature. If it's something you have a short-term use, so forth, that's not flooring. It may be flooring for some people, just want to, flip a house or flip an apartment, but that's not who I'm talking about here. This is a customer that's making a conscious purchase that they're going to live with this for a while. Remember, brand, I think we have 3 brands we represent, I always say. We've got the store's brand, which we just talked about. We've got the brand of the product that we're representing. In our business, we all know who they are. That may be the brand we represent. But then we also have what I refer to as brand you. And brand you is your personal reputation, your personal brand. And that varies differently from one side of this showroom to the other. There's half a dozen salespeople in here, and the difference in the experience of buying from each of them would be great. And yet they're all working from the same location. They're all working from the same hours, the same samples, the same pool of talent that they have to execute their designs and get their floors installed. So we need to remember we're working on brand you constantly, because I want to say, in the context of slang, I want to be the guy. Ladies want to be the gal. I want to be the floor guy, because that's the highest compliment you can give somebody. If you say, I already got my auto repair guy, I got my plumbing guy, I got my haircutting gal, whatever it may be, you're not shopping them. You're singing their praises. You're an advocate of them. You're not looking elsewhere. That is the brand that they've built into your line of thinking. That's the highest compliment. The best brand you can be, when I say brand you, is somebody that gives you that referral and that repeat business.
I think we're all aware of some of the things that build a positive brand, for following through on your promises, etc. I'm sure there's lots of ones on the other side, brand don'ts, things you certainly do not want to do because it's not going to help your brand and help your future.
That's absolutely true. And You know, sometimes we, in our effort to increase revenue or to reduce costs, we do things that can be very damaging to a brand. You know, we don't spend the money that we need to on maybe the update and so forth of our store. Maybe we're a little chintzier than we were at one time with how generous we may be with the general populace of our market. You know, I'm told there's getting to be a smaller and smaller share as national chains take over in every business, not just the flooring business. You know, the people that are out here trying to sponsor the softball team and Girl Scouts and 100 other things that people come to your door, that's going to be a smaller pool for them to draw from. I guess it'll be a little annoying at times for the local retailers. I get it. But it's also a good opportunity to remind people that we do support local. If you've got, for example, you learn a bit your lessons elsewhere. Just the other day, I was booking a flight. I missed it by a day. I knew it immediately. You know, it's just one of those things I was thinking Tuesday and pushed the Wednesday button because I'd checked flights both days. I call within 5 minutes to the airline. It's $200 change fee. $200 change fee. You know, it's national, one of the top 3 airlines. That's a gotcha. You know, they got my $200, but they're not going to get my next ticket anytime soon. They think that they got $200 revenue from me. What they really got was a black eye. I'm not going to mention them in this video, but what they really got, you know, do we do that? Do we have change fees? Do we have charge fees? Do we do things that can be perceived as punitive in some fashion to our customers? Whether they're not is not relative. Whether they're fair really isn't relative. How are they perceived? What's the perception? Because we talk about it all the time, but you know, anymore, they're doing this with their thumbs and they're telling their side of the story and they're not asking you for yours. So, you know, we can really damage our brands in a hurry when we're doing things that we think are revenue generators or cost cutters that are in fact changing the customer's perception of the service we provide.
You know, it would almost seem like an important aspect of building brand is to look successful, whether it's the store brand or whether it's your individual brand as a salesperson.
Sure. It depends which half of the market you're going after. You know, if you're trying to be a bottom feeder and you're purely cost and you're trying to be, you know, you're trying to chase that, you know, bucket and trowel or the buy from the stack it high and watch it fly. If that's your perception, you know, that you want the customer to have, then you want the store to be a certain color. You want the staff to be dressed in a certain way. Conversely, if you're trying to do things on the upper half of the market and you're trying to show how you are successful, that you are been here a long time, you know, this isn't a garage sale, this is, you know, we're going to buy something here, we're going to buy it good, we're going to get it installed well, then you've got to look the part. You know, people want to buy from successful people. And I don't mean Mr. GQ or go over the top, but I mean you have to look successful. You know, if you know what you're doing, then look like it and act like it.